Hi, in just a few days, we'll be getting Tribbie. Tribbie is the newest limited 5-star Harmony unit with a very AoE-eccentric playstyle. But every limited 5-star Harmony that has been released are really strong. Can Tribbie match their powers, and is she worth it? Well, here are 3 cool things and 3 annoying things about Tribbie before you pull. Before we start, I'll be giving away 2 supply passes / welcome moon to my subscribers at 7k subs, so make sure you subscribe. If you don't know what Tribbie does, I have a guide, link in the description. But in a nutshell, Tribbie is a quantum harmony buffer. Her skill increases all allies all-type resist pen, her ultimate deals AoE damage and spawns a zone that increases enemy damage taken and does damage to the highest HP enemy depending on the enemy's hit by an ally. Her talent launches a follow-up attack when any ally ultimates, and her technique enables her skill on battle start. Her major traces are: first, increasing damage dealt whenever she FUAs, second, increasing HP depending on allies' max HP, and third, regenerate energy on battle start and per ally attack. Overall, Tribbie has a relatively simple kit, but despite being so simple, it has a lot of depth and is quite strong, as that brings us onto the 3 cool things about Tribbie. Tribbie will be the premier buffer for AoE content. AoE content, namely Pure Fiction, will be where Tribbie becomes one of, if not the best support in the game. Her buffs have absolutely insane value when fighting against high enemy counts, but not only that, she also has quite high personal damage. Her talent's follow-up attack does quite a lot of damage and is quite frequent in some teams. And her ultimate zone damage is also quite helpful when fighting against one boss enemy among the AoE. This all makes her a super synergistic unit for AoE content, but even stronger if you can fully utilize her kit, which brings us onto the next cool thing. Tribbie has some of the most unique and strong buffs, featuring an all-type resist pen, which is not too common, but is still one of the strongest buffs in the game, and featuring a vulnerability debuff, increasing damage taken by the enemy, which is even rarer and even stronger in some instances. These 2 buffs means that for characters like the Herta that either already get innate common buffs like attack and crit, or when running other sources of buffing that include common buff stats like running another Harmony unit, Tribbie has one of the highest values in terms of increasing your team's DPS. But Tribbie's buffing capability doesn't stop there. One extremely strong interaction is Tribbie's synergy with ultimate spammers. Since she has some relatively high personal damage from her first major trace and her buffs also increasing her own damage as well, one super unique playstyle is actually playing to use her FUA as often as possible. Although it is limited to 1 per ally, it is reset when ultimate is used again. And with her 3rd major trace, you are able to get a lot of ultimates, especially if you build her correctly. Therefore, you can often refresh this limit, resulting in almost making Tribbie a sub DPS. So ultimate spammers, namely AoE ones like Argenti, Several, Yunli, etc. have superb synergy with her that can bring the most out of your Tribbie. But even for other teams, if you have decent ultimate uptime, you will definitely feel her impact in the team. However, with all that being said, one extremely crucial thing is that Tribbie is still contesting a spot in a team with other extremely strong units. Tribbie may not always be the best option, as that brings us onto the 3 annoying things about Tribbie. Other extremely strong units like Robin and Romay fit into the same spot Tribbie fits into. A lot of time, these 2 other units tend to be quite equal or even stronger than Tribbie, especially if not versus against AoE content. This means that she is quite a lot more situational and not quite as universal as the other 2 premier buffers. Not to mention, if you already have Robin and Romay, even in teams where Tribbie does outshine them, usually it's not to an extreme extent. So the clear speed increase may not be as obvious as many of you would like it to be. Speaking of things you may not like, Tribbie is quite a lot harder to build compared to other units in the same class. One extremely unfortunate thing is that Tribbie does not gain any DPS stats other than damage dealt by herself. This means that usually for buffers, you would just slap on some speed and maybe 1 or 2 stats that they use, but Tribbie actually wants you to build her completely DPS with HP and crit without foregoing the common buffer stats. Not to mention, if you plan to play her ideal playstyle, you also need some speed as well. This all makes her quite a hard unit to optimally build. And last but not least, Tribbie may not be the best pull as of right now. Her second major trait really incentivizes and kinda labels her as the best buffer for HP scalers. Obviously, Blade and Mayday, who is coming in the other half of the same patch, will work great with her, but if the rumors are correct with Caster's scaling of HP as well, and if Hoyu buffing older units will include Blade as well, she seems like a much better pull in the future / reruns, as for some players, Tribbie may end up just sitting in your account until those future things happen. But with that being said though, this is more or less actually both an annoying thing and a cool thing. She'll definitely be invaluable to anyone's account in the future, but some people want immediate power over future power, and others prefer the pull for future proofing, so while this point is in the annoying section, secretly I think it's actually a really good thing.